because people want to get in and get out. And if we go all sidewindy tangent because we didn't prepare, then we're going to lose people along the way. But if we can be intentional with what we want to say before we get on camera, everything we say serves that promise that we made in the beginning of the video. How to get 1 million views on Reels. I could wax intellectual about that at all points, but I could also say, you're going to research viral topics and hooks. You're going to emulate that content by preparing your content before you press record, which is going to make your videos more punchy and to the point and keep people paying attention, right? So then we have this intention behind it, as opposed to this reactivity that most people do when they get started. They're just like, oh, I had this idea and I just did it and it didn't do well.
Right.
Doesn't mean you suck, just means you didn't have a plan.
Right. Oh my God, this is so good. Okay. I have so many things.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. First things first, you talking about researching topics that you could create content, create your videos about is so simple, yet so smart. And I'm over here thinking, I don't even barely ever do that. It's like we all think we need to just like reinvent the wheel every single time we make new content. I am good about repurposing or even just reusing older stuff and bringing it back through the rotation. I'm good about that. But what you're saying and researching it, I haven't always been so good at, and it's actually something that you might hear from a YouTuber, right? Because YouTube is a great search engine the way that TikTok is. Like how you said, you could search things very easily. And a lot of times a YouTuber will say that. They'll say, well, I find my topic ideas by searching YouTube. So it's, the same idea. It's so smart. I just had to say that because I think so often people think there's something wrong with that, but it's not, because you said you're not copying them. You're literally just finding out what people want to watch.
I call it the lottery ticket method.
Okay.
Let's say you want to win the lottery and win the millions, right? It's the same thing when we post a video. You can either go and buy a ticket and guess all 7 numbers, or I can give you a ticket that has 5 of the 7 numbers already filled out. Which one do you think is going to bring you the millions? Well, of course, it's the one with the 5 numbers filled out, right? Well, that's what doing research does. It fills out some numbers on your lottery ticket. Now, it's not guaranteed you're going to win, but you're going to have a much higher probability of success. And so that, that whole, like, I have to come up with everything myself mentality goes out the window. Yes, you do have to come up with some of the stuff when you deliver the content, right? Your expertise. But as far as only posting content that you think has a good idea of success changes the game very drastically in your content strategy.
Right. Wow. It's so smart. I'm literally going to be taking action on this like this week myself with my own stuff. I hope everybody else is too. And then the other thing I was going to ask you about really quick, if you don't mind, is like, I want to just get your opinion on this. It's so funny because you're talking about, hook and getting right into it and all that. And I teach a very similar thing. Like we've got to do that because people don't have a lot of patience right now. We're scrolling quickly. And so you got to say real quick what's going to grab their attention. But as we both know, it's so often, hey guys, I just wanted to come on here and, take the time. And it takes however many seconds to get into this intro. What is up with that? Do you think that that's a lack of education, or do you think that we do that as some sort of is that a bad habit? Like, why are we rambling before we just get to the point?
Yeah, I think that there's 2 things I call that the wind up. Okay. The wind up is like, okay, I'm going to wind up to so there's 2 thought processes here. I think with short form content, you almost have to flip your video backwards. You have to start with the big thing and then unpack it. Okay. The reason that people do that whole, hey guys, I just jumped on here to do this, the wind up, is because they haven't prepared for the video.
Okay.
And every time somebody does that, I go, this person doesn't know exactly what they want to say. And I might still watch it, but they're just going to kind of like bounce around. Where when you get intentional with what you want to say before you press record, it changes your life because it makes creating that video more succinct and punchy. And really what we're doing here, Brittany, is communication. It's high level communication in a short period of time. It's telling somebody something of interest to them and then concisely telling them in a way that either teaches them or gets them excited or entertains them, right? And so the wind up is all just like, hey guys, I have no idea what I'm about to say to you right now. And so I'm going to say this first because I'm kind of prepping my brain in the background.
That's a good point. I never thought about it that way, but you're right. It probably is lack of preparation. I love it. And I love how you say you got to kind of work backwards. So another question that came up because of that. So what about a call to action? We hear that in marketing, no matter if it's on Instagram or elsewhere, all the time. Call to action, call to action. What do you want your person to do? What do you think about that? How does that work into creating this really great reel that you're creating?
Yeah, I mean, basically, it depends on what you want. So whatever you want. If you want more followers, you need to say at the end of your video, follow for more tips.
Okay.
You have to remind people, because the way that people consume reels is a lot different than historically we've accepted content. It's flip, 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 flip. Your thumb actually has its own little brain. It just kind of does its own thing, right? And so if you're not reminding people of the things you want them to do, even if it's at the end of the video, they're not going to do them. So what I do is if I want followers, I'll say, follow for more tips, or hit the thing, or something that indicates now it's your turn to do something. And what I do is I usually change the audio title. So I don't really use trending audio, as I said before. So it just says original sound. Well, I changed that to follow for more tips, because it scrolls across the screen. And so we can use these little indicators to get people to do the thing we want. So if you want people to go to a landing page, tell them the link is in your bio, and please, for the love of God, make sure that link goes directly to that landing page, not to a link tree where they've got to navigate and play a scavenger hunt to find what they want. Whatever you want them to do, if you want them to follow you, say it. If you want them to go to the next step with you, give them a link that's really easy to get to and goes directly where you want it to go.
I love that advice in general for social media, is like making it easy on people to take the next step. That's something else I've tried to remind people of, because you can get caught up. I mean, it's your thing, right? So you created your thing. You've got your cute bio filled out. You've got maybe your link tree or your website and all these things. And it's just like anything else. It's yours. You're familiar with it. So to you, it may seem easy. It's like, duh, this is how you find my offer.
Yep.
But it's not like that for the people on the other end. And they're so freaking busy that if it's like this multi-step process and they have to click 12 things, they're going to leave.
There's no way they're getting to that 12th link ever. Yeah. And so you just, if you're in business, my thing is like, you should have a target, right? And if your target is, I want to sell my course, then the only link you need to have anywhere is your course. And if you want people to see your interview on some podcast, then that's just take them directly, because there is paralysis by analysis. And I think link trees are very valuable in some capacity, but if you have too much to choose from, the brain goes, this is burning too many calories, of thinking about it, just shut it down. And then you'll never see them again.
Right. Okay, cool. So that's a good point. And so if for some reason your type of structure, you do need something like a link tree, don't have 22 links on the link tree. We got to narrow it down here.
No.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. And then one other thing, and I'm just throwing these questions at you. I'm sorry, I'll let you continue in a second, but
sure, of course.
What do you think about like, how do I put this? This is hard. Kind of like expectations, or managing your expectations, because you're at different levels, right? So one person might be totally freaking beginner from scratch. Somebody else isn't. Like, how can people, because I feel like social media, I feel like there's therapy involved. Like there's all this mindset, and you have to, think it through, and what's your mission and all that stuff. And it's true. And then I think people will go, but he got such and such, I should get the same thing. But it's not like that. There's too many variables involved. How can someone help manage their own expectations on how this journey should be going for them, and look for signs of oops, maybe I need to fix my reels. It's not working out,
Yeah. So, I mean, expectations are a big thing just in life to be aware of, because they just set you up to be disappointed. So, if you make something and you're like, I really think this is going to do well, and it doesn't, it is a disappointment. So the way to mitigate that is to do some research. And then you could say, well, I did my research. This video should have done well. Okay. But the second way to mitigate this is, the whole game right now is non-follower reach. So when you post a reel, the algorithm simply does this. It shows it to a group of people. It could be some of your followers. It could be some non-followers. And if those people do something with it, meaning they watch it, they interact with it, they save it, they share it. It shows it to another group of people. And then when those people do something with it, it shows it and shows it. And once people stop doing something with it, the algorithm stops showing it. It's that simple. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't judge you. It's not thinking about you. It's just like, are people enjoying this? Are people doing something with it? Show it tomorrow, show it tomorrow, show it tomorrow. So if you want to mitigate your expectations, all you need to do is think about the whole game is non-follower reach. So look at your insights, and you don't even have to do this. If you have 1,000 followers and you get a video with 2,000 views, that means that 1,000 people that didn't know you saw your video. Okay. Yeah. And that is a massive success. Okay. Because the only way to get new blood is to get shown to new people. So by just setting the expectation that, hey, if this video gets more than my follower count, regardless if it's 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, then this is working and it's good and it's a good thing. So that's the way to navigate that. And I know I've been there. I've made these super creative videos and it did nothing. And I'm like, everyone hates me. But you know, that was all the energy I put into it and the expectation that I wanted out of it. So it's just about non-follower reach. Can you get over your followers? Then you're doing a great job.